Afternoon everybody, how is everyone? Today I thought about doing a video on Pfeiffer syndrome. I touched up a bit on it on the previous video discussing about Pfeiffers and LGBT and other stuff like that. Today I thought about going through the ins and outs of what Pfeiffer syndrome is, how it was made, diagnosis, so on and so forth. I was born in 1997, so I'm a late 90s guy. So at that time, Pfeiffer syndrome was very rare. I was one in 15, 20 or so people who had Pfeiffer syndrome in the UK, and around that time they didn't know exactly if it was Pfeiffer's. At first they thought it was Crouzons, it could have been Apes, it could have been a couple of other things that are pretty similar, and eventually they came to the conclusion, after many agonising tests, that it was Pfeiffer syndrome. I've been in the hospital since I was 2 weeks old. Obviously I'm not in hospital now, I'm at home. But I've been going in and out of hospital since I was 2 weeks old. And the first operations I ever had done was a hernia in the belly button. And after that was a shunt, and got diagnosed with Pfeiffer syndrome at 2.5. That's when they diagnosed me. I was severely ill. It was a case of they had to do it. I was diagnosed with hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is when you get too much fluid on the brain, which then pushes everything out of its place. It can be really dangerous, cause brain damage. It can also cause death if not treated. The symptoms of hydrocephalus is pain, vomiting, really high fever, not being able to focus or move your head. Luckily they caught it in time, because otherwise, I wouldn't be here, but enough about that. Right, Pfeiffer syndrome. What is Pfeiffer syndrome? From what I've been told by the geneticist, is that it's when the first two chromosomes, the left and the right chromosome, swap heads. So the right went to the left and the left went to the right. Because of this, it shows characteristics like an enlarged forehead, eyes that stick out more. In my case, I've got a lazy eye, which is my left eye, which is very noticeable. That eye will stay there. The jaw will be unaligned, so the top jaw is where it is fixed, whereas the bottom the bottom jaw has grown out to the ways, so I have no proper bite. I've only got 4 teeth on the left side that actually meet, the rest don't touch. I do need to have them done. I was born with no proper nose and nasal cavity, so I had to have them made, and an artificial bridge put in place. It's collapsed now, so I've got to have a new one put in eventually. Otherwise it's gonna obstruct my breathing properly, and my nasals. The other things I also have is bilateral hearing loss and optic nerve atrophy. The hearing loss, I have a bone anchored hearing aid, on the left side. During the pandemic last year, after the first lockdown came off, I was meant to be having the second one put in place. Unfortunately, we had to go back into lockdown again. The optic nerve atrophy, from what I understand, it's not the eyes initially, although the eyes have now deteriorated itself. But it's basically where the wires of the brain to the eyes do not function properly, so they don't send the correct pictures. And in the sunlight or any kind of ceiling lights, depending on what kind of light it is, LED lights and things like that, it's really painful in my eyes. They said it's like shattered glass that's been stuck together and then shining a torch on it. Very, very, very graphic. So hydrocephalus, I have the shunt, which is a tube that goes into my stomach, which is connected to a tiny, tiny little, it's like a 2p sized machine that's stuck to the side of the brain, and it drains the fluid into my stomach so that it can be controlled and be passed out when I go to the loo, I suppose. I've got irritable bowel syndrome, supposedly. Although I've had issues since I was a baby, so we're having it investigated again to make sure it's not connected to the Pfeiffers and everything else. I've also got Craniosynthosis, which is common in most Pfeiffer syndrome patients, and for that you have to have the surgery to have the fused bits of bone broken down and then moved around and let it sit so that it regrows and rejoins and creates more space for the brain to grow. Another common thing is that you have to have a decompression of the back of the spine or the neck. As the brain grows too fast, it can move towards where the spinal cord is, and at the top of the spinal cord you've got a little circle bone structure like this, where the brain could try to go through and get some of the liquid in there as well. It's pretty common and has to be treated immediately because it can cause paralysis from the neck down, and even after surgery, if not successful, it can also cause paralysis or immediate death. I was lucky and it was successful, and I am able to function normally. How did I know that it was needing done? I had what they call duck head movements, or a bit like Tourette's syndrome, where you'd have tics. My head would jerk, right, left, forward, back. Every time I would try to hold it in the correct position, it would rebound and hit harder, which could be painful. And at first, we thought it was just, I don't know, we thought it was just a weird muscle spasm or something, or I was doing it for attention. I was I was 16 then, so I was still pretty much a child, and we all know what us 16-year-olds were like. So that was done, and I'm trying to think what else. There's 3 types of Pfeiffer syndrome. There's type 1, which is the least least dangerous, shall we say. I don't know what the correct word would be. And then the second one, and then the third one. I'm in the third one. Like as I said at the beginning of the video, I was the first one in, very little that had it, and they said, because of my added problems with the hearing and the sight and the nose and everything else, I was the worst case I've ever seen. And thank you Great Ormond Street for making me better, and I'm still here today. Unfortunately, I need a lot more surgeries done again. Some medical, some more cosmetic, but it all does need to be done. My jaw doesn't meet properly, my nose doesn't function properly anymore. I've been getting a lot of pain and blurry vision in my eyes because then, there's not enough room in the eye sockets. I've been getting chronic migraines again, which has been happening for over 2 years now. Unfortunately, being an adult, from the age of 16, when I left Great Ormond Street, I was shipped to the adult clinic in London, and they didn't want to do a lot of things because, they only wanted to do, this, that, and they never got round to it. So I requested to be moved closer to where I live, and the closest one here is the Birmingham Hospital, which is the specialist hospital for the maxillofacial clinic. They did not want to do anything because all my previous surgeries were done in London, and they wanted to shirk the responsibilities onto someone else who was also not willing to do anything. So my hospital here in Stoke, the specialist there, he's trying to mediate between, be a liaison between the two and try and get them to come to an agreement. Unfortunately, there's still no signs of change in there. He said if they can't come to an agreement, then he will have to then obviously send me to Liverpool or Glasgow, which is a shame because it means more travel. But if things get done, then I suppose that's just gonna be how it is. Anyway, on a positive note, let me know if any of you guys know someone with Pfeiffer syndrome, and how did you find out? How have you been with dealing with Pfeiffer's? Obviously, I've known since I was a baby, and my mum did have testing when I was a baby, but they couldn't find anything until I was born. So I mean, they could see that there was something wrong, but they couldn't tell my mum what it was until when I was 2.5 and I was properly diagnosed. So, let me know if you were able to have proper testing. Did you get to have it when you're pregnant, or was it after you've had your boy or your girl? I'm really interested to know. Also, don't be afraid to be yourself. I am 24 now, and although I had global delay up until the age I was 11, I'm also now very much older mentally than I am physically. So, you know, a lot of things I understand now I couldn't understand as a kid. I was not the typical teenager as most are, and, you know, going in and out of hospital from the age of 2 weeks up until now, it makes you, what they say, have your head glued onto your shoulder, as they say. Your head screwed on right, or as they call it. But no, I've got my own personality. I like doing arts and crafts and cooking. I can live independently. I am in the process of getting my own bungalow bedsit. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having my own place. So if if anybody wants to chat or want any advice, let me know. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell at the bottom. Please click on all. That way you can get all the videos, whether it's craft related, medical related, or just jibber jabber. I'm very new to this YouTube stuff, and I know that I am not experience. I did have a video editing software. Unfortunately, it was using up a lot of my data, so it wouldn't properly configure into a postable video that I could put up online. So I'm just gonna have to go very raw and put my videos up as they are, and then eventually when I save up enough, I will get a proper recording set with a microphone and everything else that I will need. That way you guys can get quality videos, and I'll be able to do more stuff, because when I did that video with the crafting, it was really hard because I had to sort of like put my phone on the stand. Like, I got a foldable phone case, I can stand it up. But I have to put it in a way so that I can still get past the phone and still be recording at the same time without knocking it over 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, you know what I mean? So yeah. I am in a relationship, although we're not technically out yet properly. We've been talking for 7 months now, nearly 8 months on the 19th of this month, and honestly it's going really strong, and I was not expecting it. But this will be another topic for another video. So have a good day, and stay warm, stay well, stay safe, and I hope to see you again soon. Love you lots. Bye.